All right, thanks so much, folks. We're really excited to be here. Thank you for being here. Day 2 of Ignite. 4 o'clock. Woo! I know, 4 o'clock on a Tuesday. You guys deserve an award. Now, we do have T-shirts, which are being modeled by beautiful Matt here, and myself, not so beautifully. But you can show off your T-shirt. It's all good. We do have them at the booth, though. I couldn't carry all of them here, sorry. So your reward is to go to the booth and to ask for a wonderful Microsoft T-shirt, because you want the Microsoft Search T-shirt. Admit it. You want it. You know it? Yeah, you know it. Okay. All right, we are very excited to be able to talk with you today about accelerating productivity with Microsoft Search. My name is Naomi Moneypenny. I am the Director of Teamwork and Search and Product Management for Microsoft 365. And I am joined by my wonderful colleague.
Yeah, I'm Matt Akers. I'm a Program Manager on the Bing team, helping bring great Bing tech to Microsoft Search.
So, really excited to be able to show you some of the great stuff that we've talked about at the keynote yesterday. Hopefully you saw some of those demos too. So realistically, our agenda here is to help you understand a little bit about the workplace and what we're doing from a trend perspective to help reflect why we're building out these amazing experiences inside of Microsoft Search. And then we're going to talk through a few things in terms of all of the different capability that we have inside of Microsoft Search and really looking at how we can bring that to every experience that you interact with in Office, Windows, and beyond. And then finally, we're going to show you lots and lots of demos. Lots of demos in this. As you can see, like the sheer amount of equipment that we have going up here to be able to showcase a whole range of experiences for you. So really excited to be able to do that. I do want to preface with talking a little bit about Microsoft 365. Hopefully you've seen this slide many times, and hopefully it's really starting to sink in that Microsoft 365 is not just a license per se, it is really an idea, it is a solution and a bundle that comes together to bring the best of everything that Microsoft offers you as an end user. So whether we're talking about Windows 10 coming together with Office 365, with the Enterprise Mobility and Security Suite, bringing all of that greatness together. And that, of course, is a fundamental underpinning for what we do in the Microsoft Graph, which we're going to talk about a lot today. And so when we think about Microsoft 365, we're really looking at teamwork as being one of those core pillars as part of that. Now, inside of our workplaces, we are faced with a lot of trends, right? We're really looking at different areas of the spectrum here. So you as an individual, I hope you understand, of course, that we have a decreasing attention span. Hopefully I can keep your attention as part of this with our 75 minutes together. But when we look at some of the signals that are coming from data in the workplace, we can see that people are oftentimes just spending a lot of time finding the content that they need. And then managers in particular, who owns up to being manager here, are really significantly missing a lot of information inside of their workplaces. And so that's something we really want to think about and how we're tailoring that search experience. So not only is our range of attention getting shorter, the amount of content that we have access to. So, you know, Matt's on the Bing team. We've been looking at how we've combed the internet for many years now. But now we're even seeing that inside of our organizations, too. So that explosion of data, the amount of content databases that we're creating, just internal content, structured content, unstructured content, and how we can bring all of those things together. And then finally, we're seeing some trends outside in the marketplace too. So many people have seen probably the venture capital investments that are going on. Artificial intelligence is the hot thing. Everybody's doing AI suddenly, right? When I started in AI 15 years ago, and I used to tell people that I worked in AI, people looked at me like I had 3 heads, literally. Because they were all like, what did she do? Is it about, you know, scary robots that take over the world, that kind of stuff, right? No. But no, we really are building those AI experiences everywhere. And so it's a big topic of investment for venture capitalists for things like computer vision, machine learning, and doing other ways of processing information to help bring intelligence into all of those experiences. So on top of that, inside of the world trends that are going on, we really have this idea of how our workplaces are changing as well. And so you've got new people coming in for the first time ever. We have 5 generations in the workplace, 5 generations of different ways of working, different ways of processing information, and different ways of thinking about what they're doing. And so we can look at that information and say, okay, we've also got a shift happening in IT as well. So we've gone from servers and having to manage lots of infrastructure to thinking about how we're managing services and delivering services out to our customers too. And being more responsive, being more adaptive as part of that as well. And then thinking also about these different areas around expectations. So our expectations of what search have been has really fundamentally changed. right? We've gone from just, I can find everything in the world, which seemed kind of amazing just like 10 years ago. And now you're like, I find too much stuff. There's too much stuff. Which one is the right thing, right? I just want the answer. Just give me the answer, the insight. Just make it happen for me. And so our expectations fundamentally changing about that too. As we can also think about this in terms of the edge of our workforces. So when we think about empowering our first line, the people who are working on the edges, maybe looking at customers who are at first touch points with suppliers, with customers, et cetera, we want to think about how we're empowering them to have the right information to make decisions. And all of this really plays into how do I get information faster so I can help action that. So search is not about searching. It's all about finding. And it's about finding those answers and those insights. So we really want to step away from delivering just results. We want results, of course. They're important. Pages of links that are important inside of your organization. But we really want to transform that conversation to answers, insights, and actions, and really how we're bringing those things together. Now, as part of that journey, we want to think about it across all of the devices and the experiences that you're working on. So whether that's your operating system, whether it's understanding the productivity suite where you're doing your work every single day, or even looking at digital assistants and into your web browser. All of those experiences are something that we think are really important to have search built in. And so that comprehensive an idea across every single experience that you're having. The next piece of this is really taking the idea of the search box. We're all very familiar with it. We think about one of our hero experiences of that white box that has all of the answers of the universe in there, including 42, of course, those are very important. But all of those answers are contained in that search box. But how can we really use that search box to do even more? We don't want to just find results as part of that. We obviously want to think about how we're finding content, finding people, finding expertise. But we also want to think about how we're commanding an application. So I don't want to hunt around to look for features or how do I control an application as part of that. And so taking that idea of being able to put commands and actions directly into the search box so that it's in my point of contact of what I'm doing every single day. Now, on top of that, we want to think about how we navigate and discover content too. So I want to be able to navigate to other content in my organization, not just in the experience where I'm at. And then I also want to think about how I can discover things that I can reuse across my organization. So when we think about harnessing collective knowledge, how do I reuse content that my customers have already developed, that my colleagues have already developed? How do I get that as part of all of those things? So when we think about that humble search box is getting superpowers. And we're really proud to think about what we can do with Microsoft Search more generally. So a quick introduction. I am going to play our video. So, and if I had audio, that would be even better, but maybe not. It's a quiet search experience. But hopefully it showcases some of that. So the idea here is, of course, we have these great experiences everywhere. There we go. So, inside of Windows. Thank you. I like it so much, getting it twice. Let's do that again. All right.
Encore.
So we're really, really proud to announce Microsoft Search. I hope that you will be as excited as Matt and I and all of our colleagues, over probably 200 plus people working on this at Microsoft right now. Really think about one capability that is in every search experience you have in Microsoft 365. In order to do that, we're bringing together two of our most amazing technologies that we have at Microsoft. It's the Microsoft Graph, which really delivers that amazing personalization, thinking about the signals that you work with every day, the entities that you're working with every day. So that's Matt and I in meetings together. It's collaboration that we're doing, whether we're sending emails with each other, working on documents together, right? All of the people that you work with inside of your organization, and really putting together that intelligent graph. So it understands, think of it as kind of like a corporate brain, if you will. Now, we're taking that amazing personalization that the Microsoft Graph is able to deliver, and we talked a lot about last year, and now we're taking the amazing capabilities of Bing. And so Bing has really been that platform for the last 9 years to organize the world's intelligence. And so we take together that amazing ability to take entities from the web, understand semantically what's going on there, to be able to use things like machine reading comprehension, semantic understanding, and actually put of those technologies together. And so that is what is fundamentally underpinning what we have in Microsoft Search. This one capability powered by the technology of the Microsoft Graph and Bing. So really, really excited about this. I'm so pumped. Sorry. So it's all good. So when we think about this through the Microsoft Search, we've been working on this for so long, I can't believe it. I'm so happy we're actually finally at this day. Sorry. It's so good. So we're talking about this for Microsoft 365. We really want to think about these 3 pillars coming to life for you. And this is really about delivering personalized, contextualized, insightful experiences everywhere that you are. So when we look at that insight, it's really about understanding how we can use your work network, obviously the things that you are interacting with every single day, the content, the colleagues, your expertise as well. We also want to think about how we're harnessing that collective knowledge and enabling you to take action faster. And so at the end of all of this is not just about searching, as I said. It's really about finding and being able to take action faster and building that into every experience that you have. I also want to draw your attention to this idea of boundarylessness, because that's another important component here. And it's something that we think about across all of those devices experiences. So all the mobile devices I see up in the room right now taking pictures, right? All of the computers that you're working with, the laptops, the tablets, all of those devices that you experience every day. And then we think about it also across data sources. And we're really excited about this in terms of looking at your organization's ecosystem of content as part of that. Now, importantly, as you're interacting with these different experiences, we really want to think about the contextualization that's there. So when I'm in Outlook, I probably still expect to find email. When I'm in Windows, I'm going to expect to probably find my local files in addition to all of the files that I have inside of my organization. So the context in there is really important to help understand the intention and where we're going. We also want to think about this from a trustworthiness perspective. Obviously, your security, your privacy are absolutely paramount to everything we do inside of Microsoft. Hopefully you heard that yesterday with Satya's keynote too. And so understanding and giving you control over your own data as an employee, whether it's around the GDPR standards, of course, that are important, and other standards and compliance, and how you feel about sharing your information, but also to give you organizational control. So administrators have controls on how the information is being used and what you're doing with it as well, and how much of those services you want to be able to do there. So with all of that aside, we're now going to do Demo Fest extraordinaire. So prepare yourselves to do all these things here.
Excited.
So I'm excited too. So I didn't want to just sort of talk about the vision of what we do in Microsoft Search. We really wanted to lean into all of the new experiences that we're able to give you. And the first experience we're going to show you today is Microsoft Search inside of Bing. And my colleague Matt is going to take it away from here.
Cool. Thanks, Naomi. You know, I think a bunch of you came on the journey with us last year when we announced the private preview of Bing for Business. And the team is thrilled that we are now in the public preview of Microsoft Search and Bing. And what's awesome about it is that it's just so easy to use. I mean, first off, you can, if you know how to search the web, now you know how to get all of your work content there as well in a secure way. In the public preview, you're going to get a ton of functionality. I'm going to walk through all of it here in a moment. But the one great thing about being a part of this public preview is you really get the chance to help drive and shape the product. If you were a part of our private preview, you've seen that we take action on that feedback that you give us. We deliver and ship the things that you ask for, and I'll show you some of those and mention them as we go forward. So it really is your chance to, one, see things first. When we deliver new functionality to Microsoft Search, it will come to Bing first. So you can try that out, give us that feedback, and help shape it, and then eventually it will go across all of Microsoft 365 and all of the search boxes that we power. So let me get right to it. and show you a few things here. Switch over to 7. All right, there we go. Okay, so first off, simple thing, but super powerful, keeps you productive. Bookmarks. Now, these bookmarks are very similar to best bets in SharePoint. In fact, you can import those over to get started quite easily, which is great. But the nice thing about this is no one can ever remember the URLs to these things. Now, I have 2 small kids, and they think everything's a jungle gym or a trampoline, so I pay a lot of medical bills. So this is my favorite bookmark because I can never remember where I can go to pay those bills, but here it is. All I have to do is say, pay my provider, and then I get that link to that site. It helps me navigate there. And the nice thing is you're in control over these. You get the ability to curate them and make them tailored for your company and tailored for the things that mean the most to your users. And you'll notice here I'm actually demoing live in our Microsoft tenant. And I'm doing that because a lot of our results are so personalized that it really helps you see what you can do for your org, but through the eyes of what we actually experience every day at Microsoft with the product. Now, bookmarks are great. And they're great for navigation, but sometimes you just want a quick answer to something, and that's where Q&A comes in. This is Q&A that you can curate. You can actually, you can use tables, charts, graphs, all kinds of stuff. This is a simple one, but super powerful because it's something that probably resonates with a lot of you. Have to reset your password. How do you do that? Well, you can get the answer right here. So instead of having to navigate somewhere, you can actually just provide that answer right there to your users. And in a little bit, I'll show you a little bit more about automated Q&A with machine reading comprehension, but these you're in control of here. Now, next up, searching for people. Now, what's cool about this is you'll notice I just typed Naomi. There's a lot of Naomis in the company. But because we understand certain signals, such as the people you work with most, people you email that may be in your same building, in your organization, it picks the right one for me because it knows I work with Naomi more than the other Naomis that are here. But of course, you can also find those as well. So what's cool is it also shows the meetings we have in common, which is pretty nice. So it looks like we're going to go to dinner tonight, which is pretty sweet. I forgot about that, so that's cool.
Me too.
I hope you're picking up the tab.
Me too.
Maybe Jordy, are you picking up the tab? Awesome, thank you. I can also see the files that we have in common. So here is something cool. Now, these are the files that Naomi has either shared with me or are available publicly. I can only see those things that I have access to or she's given me access to, right? So it's not actually, leaking out any files that are, that are confidential. So just to keep that in mind. I can see her organization as well, so I can see who she works for, and I can even see the groups that she's a part of, which is really cool as well. So you get all this nice information right here in the search experience, and again, it's super easy to find people even just by their first name. Now, beyond that, you can actually navigate directly to parts of this. So if I wanted to say something like Matt Akers documents, I can go right to that Files tab, which is pretty cool. And then there's also things like going right to the org chart. So I can say, hey, what's Satya's org look like? Well, here it is, and I can get to that directly. And also, of course, you can search for files. So anytime I just want to find the file I'm looking for, files about compliance, documents about, et cetera, any topic, you can find those documents on SharePoint and OneDrive for Business. And they're all super relevant. I mean, if you're looking here, these are the things that either I've touched or people around me have touched. You can see there's a document from Naomi here. So it's actually, applying a lot of relevance technology. We're using the same APIs as SharePoint as well. And so that way you're going to get similar results kind of no matter where you go, which is great. We can also search for groups. So I'm a part of this Office Search Coherence group. And with group search, it's actually pretty cool because not only can you see the owners, you can see the members that are part of that group. You can see files that they've shared amongst it, and you can even see the conversations that they've been having amongst each other in that group, which is super cool. Now, speaking of conversations, and also speaking about putting feedback in action, I'll touch on this for a moment. So when we started our private preview of Bing for Business last year, it was loud and clear that you wanted Yammer and Teams conversations in your search results. And we said, okay, that really wasn't in our plan. We actually, wasn't something that we thought, would be something that people would want. And it was resounding. And we said, So we took that back to the team, and then we actually did some focus groups with some folks to understand really what did you want out of that? Did you want conversations? Yes, I just want to be able to get those conversations. We said, okay, cool. So we went back to the team, and I worked with some of our colleagues, and we put it together, and we shipped it based on your feedback. And that's kind of the power of having that great connection with you all, is that we will take that feedback and put it into action. So during the public preview, expect some of that as well. Tell us what you want. Tell us what you're looking for, and we will build it and ship it. Mm-hmm. And like you see here, this was one, I'm really proud of this one because we did move things around in the schedule to accommodate this because the feedback was so resounding. But here you can see, a lot of this is public conversations, but when I search for things, I can also see private messages to me as well. But again, only things that I have access to, which is great on any given topic here, which is really cool. And then I can even filter down to Teams if I'd like, or down to Yammer as well. And you can see there's a lot of chatter about Ignite, as you might imagine, because we've been quite busy. Another big piece of feedback we got. I want to see SharePoint pages and sites in these results too. And that was something we had wanted to do, but we actually accelerated that as well. And so I'm happy to say that we've now delivered this as well. And so now you get these same great search results. You can navigate to SharePoint, and it also includes pages. As of, I think even just a week ago, we pulled that in, which is really cool. So we move fast. So you'll see that in Bing that we'll actually not only put that feedback into action, but we move quickly as well. Now, one other thing that I believe we just shipped last week. Now, this is super cool. What you're seeing here is one of the bookmarks that I showed you earlier, but it's actually got a Power App associated with it. So what we've allowed you to do now is do task completion in the browser. Like, this is actually my vacation balance. So you're probably thinking, wow, you know, Matt takes a lot of vacation, or maybe I'm the only guy that actually enters it in. I'm not sure which. But anyway, the cool thing is I get my real-time vacation balance and sick balance here, and this is a live app. I can use this thing right here. I'm not actually going to do it because it will literally take my vacation away, so I won't going to do that, but you could actually go through it and enter it in right there, which is really super cool. So the nice thing about that is it's you know, Naomi spoke earlier about actions, and it's not just about getting information, it's about completing your task right there and saving you steps. I can tell you that the site that we have internally for entering in your vacation probably hasn't been updated since the turn of the century, so it's pretty sweet, I can tell you, but I'd much rather interact with it here in this Power App than navigate to our dinosaur, legacy site that we have. Now, one other cool thing that we do, and you know, Naomi talked about bringing Bing tech into Microsoft Search, is we've got a lot of techniques in modern web search to help you find the answers that you're looking for. So in this case, we've got spell correction. So we've also got bookmark expansion. So when we have keywords that mean a certain thing, so HR web is this keyword, but I put webs, it can still find me the right thing. Just like in modern web search where you type something, even if you misspell, you still get the answer that you're looking for. We also have a thing we call carrier phrase removal. Now what this does, it allows you to ask a question, but we will remove certain terms like who is. So in this case, I say, who is Matt Akers? I can still get my information there because we've removed those words because we understand those filler words and can narrow that down and just find the exact keyword that you're looking for, which is cool. So again, it just makes it easier. This way, you know, your users don't have to, you know, rethink how to search. That's kind of the beauty of it. We're really trying to make, you know, enterprise search just as easy as searching the web. Another technique we have is nickname search. So you'll notice here, I just typed Greg, and his name's Gregory, and you'll see a Greg with 2 G's and another Gregory, but we can still find that, right? Because what we're doing is we're actually looking at emails in a compliant way, and we're seeing how people address each other. And the more you address someone by a particular name, we'll actually still be able to surface that, even though their name may not be that in your AAD information as well, which is really cool. And what's awesome is it all comes together right here. So we have this carousel where if you type in any certain topic, you can see the breadth of information that we have available. So on this Ignite topic, I can see the bookmark for Ignite, groups, Q&A, files, sites, Yammer, Teams, etc., which is awesome. So now you get all of that information here. So if you're just not quite sure where that thing is, you can kind of see it all come together right here, which is super cool. Now, one other thing that's neat is this search extension as well. So what you can do is you can actually deploy this through group policy, and this way your users can get to Microsoft Search and Bing wherever they want. What you're seeing here is actually, these are live populated top searches at Microsoft. So this is what people are searching for the most, and that can help your users understand, one, what they can search for or what's trending around them and help them get into that experience. Now, it also allows you to suggest bookmarks, which is cool too. So it'll allow your users, if they find a site that they want and maybe you don't have that bookmark for it, they can actually just suggest it right to you. It comes into the admin portal for Microsoft Search and Bing, and you can approve that bookmark, curate it, and get it out there so that your ability to help them be more productive and kind of answer what they're looking for is that much easier to do. Now, you probably saw down here, like, hey, why is that guy running Chrome? I love Edge. I use it every day. I know you do too. It's cool. But all I wanted to show you is that this extension also works here too. So if your users do prefer a different browser, that's okay. You can still access the same great content no matter what browser you're using, no matter what device you're using. And that's kind of the power of utilizing web tech, is that we are able to provide this anywhere on any device and any browser. And speaking of, I can show you this on my phone as well. So what you're seeing here is that same bookmark that I showed you earlier, and I can get to this on my phone. This is probably one of the best parts about Microsoft Search and Bing is being able to use it on your phone. I can sit on my couch, I can go, review things, connect to my intranet without actually having to have my phone in-tuned or be VPN'd in. I can just use that right here and get this information at my fingertips. So I can see things like here. Coming soon, I'll talk a little bit more about office locations, which is something that's coming soon, but it's cool that I can do that. But I get all that same great information right here on my phone in this simple mobile experience, which is pretty cool. So that's something that we highly encourage your users, once you get it out there, to really encourage them to use this on their device. You'll find that you get so much more productive when you're doing that as well. So that's just kind of a really fast run through of all the things. So all of this that I just showed you, again, is available in public preview. If you haven't gone to flip that switch in your Microsoft 365 Admin Center, I highly encourage it, because we'd love to have you give us your feedback and help us make the product even better.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, so let's transition to talking about some of these other experiences that we have available for you today. Yay! And so what you saw Matt just demo in terms of what we're doing in Microsoft Search and Bing, that same experience, the same capability is the fundamental to all of these things that we're doing across every experience, every app, every search box that you get in Microsoft Search. And so what you see demoed there is some of the newest innovation, like the conversations, all of those pieces, is coming to every single search box. Right? I'm going to reiterate that one more time. Right? So all of the innovation you've just seen us deliver from Microsoft Search and Bing, you will see that roll into all of the other search capability, into the search features and different experiences in Microsoft 365. So there will be one set, that one capability powers that one set of features across all of those different amazing search experiences. So I wanted to show you a few things inside of Office.com. Now, you may have seen Office.com recently has gone through a number of different iterations, and they've done some really powerful work. And so I wanted to show you a quick demo of some of the experiences that they have there, too. And I think I have to drag this over here, maybe? Yeah, there we go. That's really confusing. So, oh, that's awesome, because now I can't see it myself. Sorry. Give me 1 second. I think I'm going to have to quit out of the presentation. Sorry. Fun times. Exit. How's that? So, I would like to be able to show this to both the audience and myself. Nope. Sorry. Let's try again. Windows P. No, it says duplicate. Why can't I do that? Okay, let's try really hard to do this like this. So, okay, sorry. There we go. So I'm going to show you in Office.com, and I'm going to attempt to type at a really weird angle in order to do this, but hopefully you'll see this. Luckily, I have zero query search built into Office.com, so I only just have to click onto the search box to make that happen. So you can see as soon as I went into Office.com, I have a search box in a prominent location. Right? Think about that across all of the Office applications. So today we have it in Office.com in targeted release. In the future, you're going to see it in that same prominent location in all of the Office experiences that you're running. So we'll see that. And as soon as I clicked into that search box, I actually got search results. And so this is based on that personalization that's being driven by the graph. So I'm seeing in here, I get sites, I get files, I get people, I get other content that I can navigate to, and I can also get applications. And these applications don't have to be just the applications that I have access to in Microsoft 365 that came from Microsoft. These could also be the applications that I have access to in Azure Active Directory. So you could see your third-party applications in here too. So if I search for ServiceNow or something like that, Adobe, et cetera, I would be able to see those applications in here too. So wanted to mention that too. Now, the other piece of this is being able to actually type in here and getting a search result as part of this. So I can see marketing, or I can actually check through a number of things here. So I can see it narrow down that query as soon as I start typing. You can also see on the rest of the page here that I've got recommended documents, for example, and those recommendations are based on the documents that I've interacted with the most. So those are things that I've got notifications in. They're things that people have commented. Maybe they want a question or an app mention in there, and so they're actually actively updating those documents. And so Office.com is taking time to actually help to recommend that content for me as well. I can also discover different content as well. So I can't scroll through here right now because it's really hard to see it, but hopefully you'll see that you get that discover experience there too. So I can really look at different content and be able to serendipitously look at that across my organization. So that's the same experience inside of office.com. You'll see that prominent search header coming everywhere. Now I wanted to show you a couple things. As soon as I go into the Word interface here, so I've clicked onto Word, so this is Word Online starting up here, and you can see I've still got that same search bar at the top. So every one of those start pages for PowerPoint, for Excel Online, for Word Online, all have that same search bar experience coming right at the top as well. And that is already rolled into targeted release as of today. So really excited to be able to see all of that content too. So I'm going to show you a couple of other experiences too, if I can get my computer to actually correspond with me. That would really be helpful. There we go. Let's talk about the SharePoint mobile app. There we go. We talked about the start pages in office.com. And now let's talk about the SharePoint mobile app. And for that, I would like to be able to give you a demo. So I would have to...
Phone if you'd like.
You got it on your phone?
Yeah,
okay.
you can show it on mine if you like.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's show it on Matt's phone.
Yeah.
So it's all good. So here we have the SharePoint mobile app. Hopefully you've all downloaded it. Show of hands, SharePoint mobile app users? Yes, nice. Yes, yes, okay, good, good. Rest of you, come on, you're missing out. So it's all good. So this brand new SharePoint mobile app, you should see an update in the App Store for you, whether it's Android or an iOS. And you can actually do a search directly in here. So for example, I'm going to do a search. I'm going to search for myself because I know what content is going to come up. So here I am. So here's my profile, for example, and I see a bunch of information here. So I see that same consistent people card that you saw Matt demo earlier in the Bing.com experience. You're seeing that same people card appear here in SharePoint. You can also see some of the files that we've worked with recently, and you can also see the email results, importantly, as well. So I see all of that information right here, and I can actually scroll through. I can see all these different files, etc., and do that across my organization. Now, inside of here, I'm actually seeing those frequent sites. So now that I've searched once, I see that as a quick access, so I can repeat and get to that content fast. I can also see the different sites that I've accessed. I've got people that I work with the most here, and recent files that I've been interacting with. We also see popular searches for your experience. So you're seeing here popular searches inside of your organization, look very much like the ones we showed before. And then I can also, as an organization, populate these frequent links. So I can check out these featured links as part of that too. Now, this search experience is central to what we're doing in the SharePoint mobile app. The minute you go into this mobile app, you get landed into the find experience because we think search is so important to what you're doing every single day. And we've got lots and lots of updates that are coming as part of that as well. So I'm going to show that. Now, the next piece I wanted to show you in the future as well. So some of the newest capabilities that we have inside of Outlook. And when we look at Outlook, it's really about finding the right items faster. And Outlook is one of those great productivity tools that we all use every day, hopefully, especially in the Outlook mobile app. And so there have been increased amazing enhancements we've done in terms of the Outlook mobile app. And the search experience in there is truly powered by AI. It has that Microsoft search capability in there, but it also does amazing things like extracting dates automatically out of the emails that you receive. So you might have noticed in that find experience in the Outlook mobile app that you see your boarding passes, you should be seeing your hotel reservations, that kind of information. And you didn't tell Outlook to extract that, right? It actually automatically did that and put it straight into the Find tab of your Outlook mobile experience. Same thing happens with your American Express bill. When mine comes in every month, it wants to show me this is when it's the due date, and it actually puts it onto my calendar automatically. So it's really taking that idea of how we can take intelligence and build it into the search experiences. So I can find content, I can find links, I can find people, but it's also using some AI to help me parse some of the activities that I do the most in terms of managing my time and my communications and my scheduling across. And so you'll see even more availability around that for Outlook and even more search enhancements coming into the future as well. Okay, I'm going to take a pause there and just remind that when we think about these different efforts here with Microsoft Search, it really is one capability. This is a question I get the most. It's probably the question I've had the most over the last year or so. It's like, why are the search experiences different, right? Everybody have that question? Yes. So we see that. Why are the search experiences different? This is really what we're doing to answer that problem. We are saying there is one capability, one Microsoft Graph reorganization with the Bing technology built in and doing amazing things as part of it. And we're taking that same capability and putting it into every search experience. Now, each search experience is going to get these capabilities at a different time. So just being, very honest and straight, transparent about that. So you've seen it today in Bing.com. You see it in Office.com. You have availability of those things right now in Outlook, in SharePoint mobile app, in SharePoint itself as well. And it's coming to all of these other experiences too. So you'll see it inside of PowerPoint, in Outlook, in Teams, in Yammer, in Edge, in Windows, all of these experiences. And just because I didn't have room on the slide, there's a lot of other things under there too, right? So all the other products we have in Office 365 that have a search box, but I can't fit them all into PowerPoint. But these are the ones that we know are definitely all part of that too. Dynamics is a great question. So I may talk about extensibility at the end. It's not part of Microsoft 365 yet. So Dynamics is a different part of Microsoft at this point. Okay. One of the other pieces that I wanted to draw your attention to, and you saw Matt demo earlier with the people card. You just seen me show the people card inside of SharePoint mobile app. So this idea of coherence. When we talk about coherence as a capability, this is the same idea of really being able to take that same information and display it lots of different ways across the suite. And so in this case, we have that consistent people card. Hopefully you're very familiar with this inside of what we do in SharePoint, in Outlook, in PowerPoint, etc. And I'll give you a demo of that in just a second. But this idea of having a coherent experience that goes across every one of those search capabilities and is proactively delivering your results as part of that. So coherence is a very important part of what we do here. Okay, so those are all the experiences you have access to today. Yay! Yay for having access to amazing stuff immediately. Okay, now what's coming next? Because I know everybody always wants to know, like, what's next? What's next? Right, so it's an important piece too. So first thing I really want to mention, we are working very hard on the next generation of relevancy from a technology perspective. We think about really bringing together these two amazing technologies under the hood. So we've got that personalization that's being driven by the Microsoft Graph, really understanding about you, thinking about your role, thinking about your organization, and all the things that are meaningful to you as part of that. And so really taking that degree of personalization. And now, with Bing, we're really taking that incredible technology that we have to understand intention and really taking it from the consumer search and looking at how we're using this to do guidance, to do things like semantic matching, so understanding concepts and how they map together without having to teach a machine to do that. And then really taking that next level of relevancy so we can think about, it's not just about results. We want to think about driving it to answers, driving it to understanding acronyms, driving it to understand different things, idioms within and entities that are within your specific culture or organization. And so those are things that we think are really, really important to work on. We want to nail that relevancy. We want to understand a lot of the intention that you have too. But we also want to think about, making sure that performance is there as part of that. So a lot of work that has to go on under the covers to really improve that, the performance and the relevancy. And it is not something we have taken our eye off at all to get there. So I just want to reinforce that. Okay, so with that, we have some really cool stuff that we can do as part of searching inside of Office applications. And for that, I'm actually going to try to get my computer to work, which has now gone to sleep, of course. There we go. So there we go. So I'm going to switch over a couple of different experiences here. So let me just warm this up and see if it does this. Okay. So I'm in here. This is actually my own machine from Microsoft here. So you're going to see some interesting results as part of that. So, but these are public slides, just saying, before anybody goes crazy, screen capping everything. Right? So these are public slides that are in the background here. So you can see this is my PowerPoint on the desktop. PowerPoint on the desktop. We have taken that search box that you saw us demonstrate in Office.com, and we're building it into the desktop versions of Office. So you'll have access to it inside of Word and Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, everywhere. And so I can do that same search query in here. For example, as I start typing, you'll see different results come up. So in this case, for example, I start typing A. It will give me the different actions that are suggested here. So this is super helpful to be able to find that kind of command to the application. So for example, if I wanted to search, start searching AC for accessibility checker, you can actually see that it's actually popped up the search results for the people that I work with the most. So in this case with Andrew Conway, for example, is coming up to the top because that's somebody I call AC on a regular basis. and so it understands that and has floated those people results up. So I've still got all of the actions, so the things that I can use inside of PowerPoint, the actions and the ribbon, etc. And I'm also getting here, in this case, the documents that I work with. So I'm seeing lots of different documents as part of that too. I can go one step further. For example, if I do search for like EX, I'm seeing obviously groups in there. I'm seeing things like expense accounts too. I'm seeing even a definition from Bing.com as part of that. And then I can see other kinds of content. So in this case, I see Excel files. I'm seeing things like PowerPoint. And then I'm seeing things like Word. So I can actually reuse that content from those slides that my colleagues have already created. And I've built that directly. It's just built in here. I can also do a smart lookup as part of that too. So when I click into this smart lookup experience, this is something that's actually been shipped into Office already. And it should show me these exploration and definitions here. It actually gives me some information here from Wikipedia. I can do a web search. And so it's really helping me to guide through those different experiences. So I can actually check out the definition of these things. Obviously, EX is not a great example, but you can get the idea. And so it helps to understand all of that information in the context of where I'm seeing. So that helps me to see all of those different information as part of this, and then I can do these suggested actions too. So not only here is search trying to help me find the content that I need, it's actually suggesting actions, things that I do frequently. So for example, I often go in and adjust the master, for example, on these slide decks, etc. So it's allowing me to do that. So I can see that same experience, obviously, inside of what I'm doing with these desktop applications. Same thing is true inside of the Office.com experiences as well. Back to 5, so thank you. And so with those search experiences in Office, we're really thinking about those actions and services and getting that content that you need. And then really thinking about, getting rid of that idea of having to context switch all the time. So oftentimes when you're building a PowerPoint presentation, you're building a Word document, you need to get information from the web and incorporate it into what you're doing. And so now you can do that directly inside of those Office applications. We will be shipping this in Office.com on the online experiences as well as into these Office applications by the second quarter of next year. So it's coming up very soon as part of that. Is that exciting? Yes? Okay. All of the smarts of the web, put it into your Office apps every day as well. Okay, so quick screenshot on that one, and then I wanted to talk a little bit more about people search. So people search is something that we've been working on for quite a long time inside of Microsoft, and we've got some great experiences already. One of the things I'm going to do is just pull up another experience here because it's easier. Give me a second. Sorry, while I get this one to work, because I don't want to do this weird switching thing where I have to stare at the big screen to do a demo. So I'll get this sorted out here.
You were very adept for what it's worth.
Yeah, so pretty impressive. It's like peripheral vision. It's amazing, right? So it's all good. So what I'm going to do is actually pull up my demo environment over on my machine here. And you'll forgive me for demoing it in a different place here. Yes, I want to stay signed in. And so I'm going to do a couple of searches as part of this. And as soon as it loads, here we go. So let's see. There we go. Thank you. Now we can switch over. We can see into office.com. And it's coming slowly. The Wi-Fi is kind of sucking. Here we go. So, oh my God, really? So, Wi-Fi. Thank you. There we go. All right. So let me do a few searches in here to explain what I mean. So as I start typing, for example, you'll see here I've got people popping up. So I started to type for Mark, like as in marketing, could be Mark as a person. But it also gave me an alternative name here with Miriam Graham. And Miriam Graham popped up because she's one of the people who's involved in marketing as part of that too. So that expertise search is actually being driven from her profile inside of Office 365 too. And so I wish I could get this to work because it would be really awesome if the Wi-Fi would work. There it is. You can see in this case Miriam Graham here. So she's got Director, Sales and Marketing. So my search for MAR, not just people, but also the stuff inside of her profile as well. And then I could look through other skills in here. All of that piece is also accessible too. I can also find content directly through people too. So for example, if I go into searching for Nestor, for example, I think is a good one. And the Wi-Fi is slow, I'm sorry. Faster, faster. So here we go. And we get Nestor loaded up here. So here's Nestor, his profile. I could actually click through onto his extended profile. So here's that people card that you're very familiar with, hopefully across all of the Office 365 experiences. And you can see it's that same people card we demoed earlier. So here's that information that shows me different files that Nestor's shared with me recently. So in this case, I can actually use him as kind of a way to find the content. Because oftentimes we remember the content through the people that we worked with, right? You don't remember the name of a PowerPoint deck or an Excel file. You remember who you got it from, right? And so many of our searches inside of Outlook and all of the other experiences are searches for people. And so we want to showcase that as part of here. So we can actually do a search for a form, for example, and it's actually just searching within the particular people that that have shared with me this content. So I can sort of use that as a person to do wayfinding through as well. The other piece of this is to be able to show that same consistent people card popping up everywhere. And then I can also, check out the documents as soon as they're in here. So even though I'm getting results in this case for things like PowerPoint files and different Word documents, I can actually check out those files directly here. So that preview capability that we have inside of these Office experiences actually showcases over 300 different kinds of previews. So you don't have to have, the specific application installed. You can still see through all of that content too and be able to look at it. I always think about this as kind of, excuse the expression, but kind of a Tinder for search. So, because basically we want you to be really, really sure before you swipe on it, right? And sort of get into that too. So it's kind of like, we want you to save your click or your swipe in this
I'm really
case.
glad you went there. That's
yeah,
good.
Sorry. Hey, come on. It's late on Tuesday. I don't feel bad about this. So, but you get the feeling there. So at least I can see through this content here. I can find it through people, but I can also check out what it is that I need as part of it too. So it's a great way to do that sort of wayfinding as part of this. So I think we have a nice little GIF on here that actually helps to showcase this too. But we'll see if it actually plays. I don't know if it will. Maybe it will. There it is. Thank you. So there we go. So it's a good example here to be able to showcase this coming through people, getting those results, and then being able to see more information about that person in that extended people card and be able to use that as part of it too. So pretty cool. Okay. So other things that we have coming up as part of this too. So I'm going to hand it over to Matt to talk to you a little bit about the Windows experience as well, and how we're bringing that same capability into Windows.
Right. So I know a lot of you are upgrading to Windows 10. If you're not, you should be, because one of the coolest things that we're going to bring to you in the coming year is all this great Microsoft search capability right into the Windows search box. So, we know it's hard to change habits, right? People have a set way of doing things. People email themselves files, they have a crazy desktop, but it's going to be great when you can tell all of your users, hey, all you have to do is search right here in this ever-present search box in Windows. And what's great about the experience that we're going to bring is that we're actually going to leverage the mobile experience on Bing that I showed you on the phone. So what's cool about that is it allows you to really set this stuff up once and use it everywhere, and it gives people a really familiar experience. They don't have to learn this stuff all over again. It will feel familiar. They can do those same search terms. And so all of that great search functionality that I showed you earlier in Bing.com will come right into that search box, and we're actually actively working on that right now, and we're about to turn that on in Microsoft and try it out and get all the bugs worked out and then get it out to you guys very, very soon.
Awesome. So we're really excited about that one too, doing that same Windows search for people, for profile information, also get to your local files, of course, as well as the files in your organization too. So the other piece that we wanted to talk about as part of our delivery that's coming in the spring of next year is really this idea of a unified administration experience. So you heard a little bit yesterday, if you heard Brad Anderson's keynote, talked about Microsoft 365 having one admin experience across probably 20 plus admin experiences that we have right now. And search is also obviously very much a part of that. So everything that we're doing from a Bing.com experiences, bringing in those bookmarks and best bets, having one place to be able to do those things and give you more information as well about what people are searching for and the kinds of things that make sense. And so if people are suggesting bookmarks, for example, you'll be able to see that, be able to manage all of that as well, and that security and privacy piece too, which is obviously hugely important as we think about organizational displays as well. Okay, so that's all by the spring. Are you excited for spring? Yes? Okay. But wait, there's more. No, I wanted to say that. I had to do it. I had to do it. So,
it was appropriate.
It was appropriate. Okay. So no steak knives. So let's talk a little bit more about the future directions that we have too. So the first thing, and everybody's question for me, is always around extensibility. When can I customize this? When do I get the vertical refiners? When do I get custom refiners and other pieces that I want to put together? And so I see people nodding already and a million people taking slides. So this is definitely part of that. So I will say that as part of that extensibility message, it is definitely on our plan. It is something we will deliver during 2019 for sure, to be able to do that idea of custom refiners, custom experiences, and that will be across the capability that we have for Microsoft Search. So you will do that customization once and make it available to all of the different search experiences. Now, I will say that it has taken us some time to actually establish this baseline of Microsoft Search, and one of the things that suffered as part of that was this extensibility piece of it. So I apologize for that. It is something we were working on very recently, and then we had to take a little bit of a step back to sort of make sure every experience inside of Microsoft Search was able to take this customization. And so it's something we had to work very hard on. So again, something near and dear to our hearts. We know that every single customer wants to do this, and really leverage that power. And so we think about this as using the SharePoint framework. We're actually looking at how we can do things like adaptive cards as part of that too, and then being able to customize the search suggestions that you get inside of the search boxes too. So something that's definitely there as part of our roadmap. I want to make one other sort of comment here around extensibility, because we get a lot of questions as well on Azure Search. And so Azure Search, as you may be familiar with, is a development platform. And Azure Search actually allows you to go off and create custom web applications that it can read in all kinds of data. It could be a Hadoop database or something on your line of business systems or crawling from the web, and actually build custom web applications as part of that too. And so that's another piece you can think about as kind of a way to integrate a lot of the results you want, and something we're going to connect to as well as part of this. So when we think about enriching some of the content that you have, there are a range of options that you have right now. So there's the messaging around sort of understanding for on-premises, for example, is something that's very important. So on-premises, not going away, right? Still supported in our hybrid configurations. We definitely, as part of our roadmap, have extensibility for the crawler that goes into the SharePoint 2019 forms, for example, to search on-prem systems. Definitely part of the roadmap for upgrades there as well. And to then look at how we're taking a lot of that information and using that same Cloud SSA application to make it into a hybrid form and send it up to the Microsoft Graph so that you're able to use those results across all of your different search experiences in Microsoft Search. So we're definitely incorporating that into our roadmap as well. I do want to sort of draw your attention to a couple of other things here too. So Azure Search obviously is part of that. The cognitive services, you've seen some of that demoed in other applications today as well. And then you've seen also the idea of group connectors. And so this is another part of Office 365 where you're bringing in external workflows, for example, or feeds. And that's another way to think about how you can connect in that information. So even though all of our extensibility is not quite there yet, there are a whole range of things that you can do. And these things that are on here right now are things you can do right now. And so I want to sort of echo that. Now, of course, that notwithstanding, we know you want more, okay? So when we think about Microsoft Search, it is not enough to think about just Microsoft information and what you have stored in Microsoft 365. And so we're really excited that we get to announce the idea of connectors inside of Microsoft Search. And so when we think about this, it's really thinking about a partner-led ecosystem. And we want to make sure that there's integrations in there. We are going to build in native integrations, obviously, to the popular applications. So you've seen this demo, some of those as well. But we also want to make sure that our partners are not left behind and have a set of APIs that help ingest a lot of content as well into Microsoft Search. The idea is for you to be able to search your ecosystem of information and to make those search experiences applicable anywhere that you are in Microsoft 365. So we're really very excited about what we can do from a connector perspective and thinking about how we can bring in more and more sources of information. You're going to see a lot more about that in 2019. It's a big direction for us. and we're really, really excited to be able to use it. And a lot of the capabilities that we have that you've seen for other Microsoft content, hopefully during Ignite this week, will be coming to that, also that third-party content too. Okay, so with that, what else? What else could you be delivering, right? We're going to bring in all this other content. We're going to bring this search experiences to everything you're working with. What more could there be? So much more. So much more. Okay, so this is where. So this is what makes it exciting for me. So this is where we start really kicking it up, because we think about how we're using some of this amazing technology that is inside of both Office and both inside of Bing as well, coming together. So things like the ability to do intelligent placeholders inside of Office. So actually invoking Office applications and saying, I want to actually put in tasks and comments inside of documents that I'm building and having that intelligently bring in content from the graph. So actually asking and saying, hey, add the Q2 sales forecast, for example, and actually bring that content in automatically without me having to do a search, right? Just put in a placeholder in the document and bring that information in as well. And then the other piece of this is really understanding things like floor plans, buildings, and campuses. And I know that Matt wants to talk to you about that.
Ah, yes. But wait, yeah, there's more. At least like 3 or 4 more things. So a couple things, and I'll try to demo these for you and talk about them as I do, because it's a little bit more fun to do that. Sure. But the, let me get number 7 here. So we have a gigantic campus at Microsoft. Gigantic. And we have worldwide offices, and it's very often difficult to find that, especially if you're traveling abroad to a different office you've never been to. And so very soon we're going to bring the capability for your users to be able to search for buildings. And so you can customize the names here, the lat, longitude. You can actually import these quite easily and enable your users to search for just about any building on your campus, as well as get directions there. So this is one of the cool things I think about bringing work and web results together, is the fact that now I can get directions on this to this building on Bing Maps, as you can see here. And so it's going to load up that map. But what's really cool is, yeah, the Wi-Fi is sweet today, it will be cool when it loads, is the fact that I can actually get, find nearby amenities there too. So if I need to get gas, or I want to get a cup of coffee, or I want to take somebody to a restaurant, I now know the things that are surrounding that building. So it's not just about getting the directions themselves, it's about leveraging all this great tech on the web to help us find things that we're looking for and help us get things done here as well. So, and even you've got this nice picture in the map as well, so that way it just makes it so much easier, to find what you're looking for. Okay, and speaking of finding what you're looking for, this is pretty awesome. You're going to love this. And you're probably thinking, wow, Matt's got a big office. No, I share that with like 7 people, so it's not that cool, all right? But what you see here is I just typed in Matt Aker's office, and it pulls it up. This is live in Microsoft. We've got this working, and note the buildings thing too, so all this is actively under development right now, so it's actually coming very soon. But what's really cool about this is if you're like me, again, big campus, tons of buildings, we get moved a lot. And you get moved into open spaces too, which is fantastic. But it's fun to stumble around the hallway looking for an office, right? Like I know we've all been there, or a conference room where you don't know where it is. And so what's great about this is it's super easy to find where you're headed, and you can see that mine's pinpointed here. It's even got a legend so that you can figure out what all of these different things mean, or where the printer is, or where the next meeting room is, which is awesome. The best thing is this on your phone, though. It's super cool, and I showed you that a little bit earlier, because that way you can kind of, navigate, as you go and get to that place you're looking for. So you're going to love this when it comes out, I promise. It's awesome. Okay, so a little bit further out in the future. Earlier, I showed you editorial Q&A that you can create yourself. But where this really gets interesting and where search really starts to take off is this idea of using machine reading comprehension technology. So with that tech, not only can we find the right content, find the right document out of thousands. So if you look at this one, this is actually a document that's stored on Microsoft.SharePoint.com, sites, IT, web, list, yeah, I will never be able to find that. But what's great is the machine reading comprehension, it actually understands the content within the document. And so it understands my question, and it said, how many devices can I roll in Intune? So not only did it highlight the answer in there, but it finds that right passage, right? That's a huge document. But within that, it has that semantic understanding. It pulls up the right passage and highlights the answer, which is super cool. So another cool example of this, HR type questions, right? So now we've got a repository of HR docs we've pointed this technology at, so I can say something like, can I bring my dog to work? Now, you can't, by the way, you're not supposed to unless it's a service animal, so just saying. But anyway, not only that, did it, again here, it knows that my dog is synonymous with pets. That's kind of the magic of it, because that enables you to ask the question the way you want, that's comfortable for you. You don't need to know the legalese and the policy. You don't need to know the exact way to say something. You can search the way you want and still get the answers you're looking for, which is super cool. And I want to show you one more that's kind of fun. Yeah, I'm going to do it. And let's hope that the internet actually works now. Hey, there it is. Okay. It's happy hour, right? Come on, guys. We're from Washington. What do you want? But here's what's really cool. Nowhere in that document does it say weed, believe it or not. It actually says marijuana. But again, the machine knows that those are synonymous. And so I'm able to ask, again, the question the way I want and still get those answers that I'm looking for. And again, you can't smoke weed at work, in case you're curious. That's just a glimpse at some of the things where we're headed. And I'm really excited for this one, because I think this is truly going to transform the way people find things in the workplace and even beyond. Yeah.
From a privacy perspective, does your company know that you just searched?
It turns out they do not, because we do anonymize the searches once you're logged in with AAD, and I have not been fired yet, even though I've demoed this about 20 times, so it's pretty clear that they are not looking at that, so it's great. I've still kept my job. I think my badge still works, so to get in the door, so that's great. But anyway, so that's a little glimpse of where we're headed with that great technology.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I don't know what else I could say after that, really.
Just drop the mic. I think that's about it.
That's all good.
We're good.
I want to show you one more thing on number 6, I hope.
Yes,
This one. There we go. To show you a little bit about some of the new experiences that we have, even just inside of Office. Now, I'm not going to ask for guidance on what I can or cannot do at work, but I can do, for example, I can actually do that inline to do, for example. So in this case, here's a document that I've been working on, and I can actually put in that inline to do. So you think about the different ways that you work inside of Office right now. So I can add in here, for example, it'd be great if at Matt Akers, so there we go, and put Matt in here, inline in the document saying, hey, can you comment on this?
Oh, you're giving me work?
So I am. It's disgraceful. Get used to it. So it's good. So actually, when I do this inline to do, it will actually add this to my task list, but it will also send an email to Matt actually saying, hey, there was a comment in here, and so asking you to put your information in there, and it will actually be able to respond to it directly in that email, and then that comment will come into Word immediately. So it's really cool to be able to show that both of those scenarios where I can add something to my to-do list, my task list, but I can also just interface directly with my colleagues in here too, and be able to show that information. Now, another piece of this is obviously I can do that search for Ignite, for example, here. You can see here that Bing's giving me some results around the consumer web. I'm also getting results from inside of my organization. But if I go to that See More search panel here, you'll see that the smart lookup experience has been changed as well. So one of the cool things I can see here is that I get knowledge, files, web, and pictures across the top. And this has turned into an amazing search box all of its own. So in this case, I can see files. So it thinks files are more relevant to me, in this case, searching for Ignite. If I search for knowledge, it's actually searching both Office files and Bing, so it's giving me those lookup, the dictionary definitions and other pieces that are really important. I can see web results in here too, so being able to go straight to the conference website. And then things like pictures, right? So it can actually find me, images that are relevant to Ignite, and it's invoked Creative Commons as part of that too. So making me creative as a person, being able to reuse the content inside of my organization very easily. So for example, I could grab some of this content, I could reuse this content, and then say, hey, I want to grab one of the images from this PowerPoint deck and use it inside of my Word document. So pretty cool, right? Seeing all of that information all in one place, and it's being built into all of my Office experiences. So I don't even have to search, it's just delivering it right there to me as well. Yay! Thank you. Just closing off on this, the other piece, so we talked about automated Q&A, because who could forget? Can I smoke weed at work? No. So it's important. And then the last piece here is really talking about acronyms and topic extraction. That's something we're working on as well. Again, with that great Bing technology, internal acronyms are one of the biggest suffering points inside of our companies, right? All these strange project names we have and all those things, and you have all that corporate speak. We're looking at how we can extract that acronyms automatically and add that and create glossaries as part of that too. Okay, I have one more task for you all to do. If you'd like to be part of some of the UX experiences that we have for Office Search, we have a little PowerPoint that's, a research study here. So if you take a photo of the QR code or go to the bit.ly link, it'll actually pop you into that research study and get you some information and give your opinions on some of the new experiences that we have as part of this too. Closing out, last slide, and talk about the resources. So I direct you towards our aka.ms/Microsoft Search blog. Has really great information across all of these search capabilities that we've talked about today, things that are in public preview and targeted release, moving into Office, into Windows, into Edge, all of the other experiences too. And then, importantly, how to switch it on, right, for your tenants. So Microsoft Search in Bing, if you want that beautiful new experience, this is the URL to be able to go to as well as part of that. So I'll let you guys take pictures of that, but I know we're almost at time. So with that, I wanted to say thank you very much. You have been an amazing audience, and we've really appreciated being able to tell you all about Microsoft Search. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
All right, if you want to ask questions, please do come to the mic so that they'll come for the recordings as part of this.
Hello.
Hi there.
I got a question. The document you commented on, like Mark, right? Do you have to give him a permission ahead of a time, or he automatically get the permission when you ask the question? Can you comment it on?
That I was commenting on Matt.
One of the document, right? You need Matt to get comment on it, right?
Yeah. So.
That.
Yeah, so it actually sends him an email. Sorry, I don't have that experience to show you, but the email comes in and it actually shows just the question or the comment that's coming in saying, can you answer the question? And putting that information in there. If I want to actually approve him to see that document, I can also do that as well.
But so my question is, do you have to give him a permission ahead of a time?
No.
Or it's automatically?
No, it's going to do that either automatically because I want it to, or because I've said not to, and then to just answer the question because I can't see the rest of the information. All right. So it's kind of a good way to be able to, the balance between those things.
You basically get a link to that document, and when you click the link, if you've got access, you're in. If you don't, you'd have to request it, right? So it's not just automatically going to give permissions.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't stop you from commenting back. Right. So that lack of permission. So this helps. I don't know where to start. Oh my goodness, long lines. Okay, go for it.
So the search experience on all these applications, right? It's based on graph, right? Is the graph search internally uses SharePoint Search Index?
Yes, so all of the content in the graph. So I didn't have time to cover all the graph content there, but everything you do, Exchange content, SharePoint content, OneDrive content, all of that content that you're creating, anywhere that you're storing it inside of Office is part of the graph. So all of that information. So we'll have Teams chats in there, right. Yammer conversations, all of that stuff. So SharePoint is definitely a big part of that, but not the only part of it.
No, it's part of graph, but does it really, so SharePoint Search Service application, right?
Yeah, so SharePoint Search is Microsoft Search in SharePoint. Microsoft Search in Bing, same thing, right? So Microsoft, every single search box across Microsoft 365 is Microsoft Search, all of them.
Okay, and the other question I have is, so like a lot of customers are migrating to modern sites, right?
Yes.
And the modern site doesn't really provide any customization on the search, right? Because this is the standard search box. Search experience. And
yeah,
on the other hand, on the classic search, you have all those customizations.
Right, so where I covered it around extensibility, so all of the things you expect in just the SharePoint Enterprise Search Center, like the custom refiners, custom verticals, all of those things will be coming to modern search, but it will come to every single search experience that we have in Microsoft 365. So you will customize it once, and then those same search results will be available in all of the different experiences. Does that make sense? So you're not just customizing SharePoint. This is not about SharePoint anymore. This is about search everywhere, right? So I know you could do a lot of things inside of SharePoint. It's one of the biggest and most powerful experiences we have, but we're really supercharging every single search experience you're having in Microsoft 365. So, okay, you're getting a lot of questions here because I know a lot of people, so I'm just going down the line here, sorry. Go ahead.
So thank you, both of you. That was a great session. I really enjoyed. So my question is, we have a hybrid environment, and we use Cloud SSA to push the results from on-premise. Not only SharePoint, but the other websites to Cloud, Office 365. Will, if I switch to the new search, will it be working straight away?
Correct.
Or
yes. Yeah, okay. Absolutely, yeah. So definitely what we're doing with Microsoft Search here, we're not getting rid of the old capabilities, we're not deprecating anything as part of that. I'm going to be very clear about that. So when you have on-prem content, we're still using that Cloud SSA. For customers who will be going to SharePoint 2019, which you'll hear about obviously at Ignite this week, that cloud SSA will be even more supercharged in the future as well.
So the only limitation I see is if you use a single sign-on ADFS environment, anything, you can't get the search results, streamlined to your on-premise result.
Yeah.
Is there any work going on in that area?
Yeah, sure. So, sorry, one of the slides, on the connector slide there, sorry, I went past it really quickly because we have a lot of content, but the connector slide there is the, really using the search authentication that you have active as part of that connection. Okay. So actually obeying those same permissions and being incorporated as part of that too.
Okay,
so, yeah,
thank you.
Definitely there. Okay, switching back to the end of the line here, sorry.
On the Bing search, is that going to ever get some sort of theming or experience to brand it as part of the tenant? Because I think my customers they don't like Delve, and I don't think they're going to like an experience that doesn't, like this looks like their corporate information. I think it's going to get the appearance is going to be, oh, I'm going to Bing, then I have privacy concerns, corporate. It's just going to give the appearance that that's not a corporate resource.
Right. So yeah, absolutely. So what I showed you was Microsoft, so we branded that as well. So in our admin portal, you can set up your logo, you can set colors, and so it's very distinct that, hey, this is work stuff. You'll also get a little link down there that talks about privacy as well. So it says, hey, only company XYZ employees can see this. And so that way they understand, hey, these are separate.
It just on the upper left, to me, if you don't see it in the upper left hand, if it doesn't have the corporate experience, I think they will just not do it.
Right.
That would be, I also just, that's just my perception. I don't think it's anything against the Bing name. It's just that the perception would be, oh, why am I being taken off to a Microsoft Bing search?
I hear you.
And
okay.
I just don't know that anybody would go past it. I can't get them to do Delve because they don't know why their perception is, why are people seeing my information? And so they stop, and then we usually have to turn it off.
I hear you.
Okay.
But yeah, you should, when you do try it out, because I know you're going to do it, brand it up, let us know what you think, and I'd love to hear the feedback if you have more suggestions on it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we let you do, logo right now. I'm sorry, this is a poor example up here because the logo is white, unfortunately, but if you put your logo in here, you can do that. So it actually says Contoso up here, and then this blue color, for example, you get to choose here as well. So, there's some very limited amounts there of customization to at least say that this is your organizational results. Definitely welcome your feedback, right, as you go forward on making it even better.
Yeah, you could just maybe you can move the Bing logo away, or maybe.
Oh man, you're gonna get me fired. I don't think I can do that.
Maybe make it like we could say powered or something. It's just sort of, or maybe at least the color and theme.
I hear you.
Maybe if it just took the tenant theming, I think then.
So one thing we are looking at too is giving the ability to customize the Bing homepage as well. So you can add company branding, color on that, right? So it starts to feel more enterprise-like.
Could you also do news injection? The thing is, I'm fighting is constantly, customers want, and to get intranet, you have to get news in there, and they have to feel like they have some control over the search.
Right.
If there's a way to get news injected so that your best bets in the news are part of the ecosystem, most customers are going to be pretty happy.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool.
So,
thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. AutoCAD DWG files are searchable, but the image, unlike a TIFF and a PDF where they get a full image, they get just this small image.
Okay.
Is there anything that will make that act and feel like a TIFF? Anybody know?
I know the answer to that one, and of course, CJ,
Somebody
do
has
you know
the
the
answer?
answer to that? No? Okay, just checking. I'm looking at the other people in the room from Microsoft. I don't, but it might be a good question to ask us.
It almost sounds like you're talking about in the search result, in the SharePoint search results when you see the preview. Is that what you're thinking of?
So actually, if I search the library, and so I can filter down, and I just get this small image
preview.
of the DWG, but the TIFFs and the PDF, I get.
It almost kind of sounds like a bug of some sorts, right? Where you would think that DWG would do the same thing. That's an interesting one. We should bring that back to the team for sure and see what that's about.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Sorry.
Cool. Thank you,
Follow
guys.
up with us.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Wonderful job. And if you could just add the whole color scheme of the theme in that section for the company, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Cool.
All right,
Like
good
it.
to know. Thank you. All right.
Hi, Nomi and Matt. Great talk.
you.
Really excited to see what's coming, and really excited to see Microsoft on the way to solving enterprise search. My question to you is chatbots. What is your opinion on using chatbots to help solve the enterprise search problem?
That's a great question. So one of the announcements of this conference that was also in the demo that Matt was in yesterday, and Martin Markowic's keynote was talking about Cortana's enterprise skills. and the ability to use bot framework there and actually query some of the Microsoft Graph as part of that. So you think about the extensibility model we have everything in Azure, for example, for Q&A maker, question and answer maker, if you've seen that already, easily doing chat interfaces, and then, Cortana can be used in these different ways with these enterprise skills now as well. So we think about Microsoft Search as being kind of a source into that. So anything you might want to query from a chatbot interface, or being able to actually use Cortana as that interface if that's what you choose, having that power available to you. So once those things are in the graph, we've got all that content together there, it's something you could definitely use and have be part of the graph APIs over time too.
Great, thanks for the answer.
Sure.
Thank you.
Let me see, go back down here.
Hi, just a quick one, and sorry if you mentioned it and I haven't seen it, but how do you integrate that Office 365 search experience with the contextual search? So if you're within the SharePoint site and you see the big search box, or you were within the Word document, you see big search box,
That's right.
you would suspect that you could also search directly where you currently are. But I haven't seen what was that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So Denise actually has a session, Denise Travona, on this in terms of design and how we're looking at that. So the idea is that same central search header will go to every experience you have in Office 365. So when I'm in SharePoint also, the SharePoint box is currently over on the left-hand side. It's actually going to move up to that central header as well. And then we're actually going to put some limitations in there around scoping. So it's something you as an administrator for that site will be able to specify ahead of time, like things that you think are going to be popular queries, for example, as part of that, or things that you think are, people will just want to search within that site scope, and actually give it some options there too. So we're going to try to show it to you both ways, right? We're going to show it sort of you got the global results, if you think
Global
about it from
search
Microsoft
versus
365
search in here.
versus a specific site. So yeah, there'll be lots of options around that too. There's a lot of thinking that we have to go through, right, to deliver those experiences, but I can't show them today, but we definitely have some great prototypes there, put it that way. So,
Thanks for that.
thanks. All right, go for it.
Again.
You're getting triple duty, dude, really?
I have a list of questions. So question on the extensibility, right? You mentioned 2019 release, and you mentioned some of the customizations. However, on the other side, in classic search, we can customize item search result. You can add more fields there. You can customize refiner. You can customize sorting by drop down. So many customizations, right?
Right.
Are those all will be available in 29 release, or only the one you mentioned here are?
So the ambition level is to have the same degree of customization that you currently have in enterprise search, or as close as we possibly can on a huge multi-tenant environment for 135 million people, right, to be able to offer those customizations. So it's definitely our ambition level. The ones I listed on there are things that people ask for the most, and those are ones that we're more likely to be delivering quicker rather than slower, frankly.
Okay. And the other question I had was on the scopes of the search. Yeah, just last question. So the scope of the search on each application, right? So when I'm searching from the Word Online application, is it just searching the Word, or is it going across?
It's searching everything. That's the whole point of Microsoft Search.
Okay.
Microsoft Search is searching everything you have access to and then contextualizing to where you are. So when I'm in Outlook, I'm probably looking for email, but I might be also looking for a PowerPoint file. But I'm more likely to be looking for email, so email is going to get floated up, and the context of that particular application is going to dominate in this case.
Okay, so it'll be similar results, but
the ranking will be different.
The ranking changes based on where you're at.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Thank you.
go for it.
Thank you. So along the same lines of refiners, when that's available, do you see eventually the SharePoint Search Center sites going away?
I don't know that we'll ever get rid of them, because the organizations have invested so much in them. So we're not about deprecating or getting rid of these things. What we're thinking about is trying to offer you a better experience, right? And so bringing that customization into all of the modern search experiences, something you still may want to cater inside of your enterprise search center to very dedicated things. For example, I see a lot of legal firms who have built out amazing customizations in there. Maybe I don't know if you're a law firm, but if that's that kind of degree of customization. So it's not something we're trying to get rid of. We just want to be that ability to customize going across all of those search experiences.
Okay.
So it's definitely an add-on, not a takeaway.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Sure. Go back to the beginning.
So similar line of questions on the past two on
Sure.
classic SharePoint search and kind of how that maps in. So, I mean, we're doing things like customizing the search schema, doing property mappings, and we're doing that a lot of times at the site or the site collection level. And some of this stuff that we've seen, while it's totally awesome and I love it, I'm not quite sure how that maps into how, the search service will be changing across all the products. So do you have any guidance or recommendations? Maybe do we need to change our tactics? Do we need to maybe look at using tenant-level property mappings for SharePoint, or is it still use the product as it is with site and site collection property mappings? Any guidance or recommendations there?
So I don't know if you guys have anything. You're just looking at me. Okay, but right now, I don't think our goal is not to get rid of any of those things.
Right.
So our goal would be whatever experiences you're using right now, that we would be able to basically take you to the new experience with that. So right now, I wouldn't change anything that people are building out and the different customizations that you have. There shouldn't be anything different from our perspective as we go into the future.
Okay.
So we'll provide you a path forward. That is something we always want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We just want to make sure we're not,
Yeah,
investing
no,
in
I'm
one
totally,
thing.
it's a good question. So I think we haven't worked out all the nuances, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely something we will. But I think all the customizations you're doing right now are valid, and it's something we expect to find in a tenant, and for lots and lots of organizations.
Okay.
So it's something we have to take forward.
Cool, thanks. Love it, by the way. It's great.
All right,
Thank you.
that's great. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi. How does the content language affect the AI engine? Is there integration with the translator?
That's a great question. So translation is something that a lot of people ask for all the time as well. It's something that we're building into things like Teams experiences and Yammer experiences, but I would hope at some time we're able to take in the Bing translation as well. Right now, we don't have a great plan. I'm looking at CJ and Kristen in case you guys have anything different to say on that one. Nope. Okay, so on the language piece, but it is something that we are also looking at, how we can take some of the Azure Cognitive Services and apply them right now. When I do a search right now, it's really interesting to see that I get some of that integration already, even though things are in languages that I don't speak.
Are they supporting only English now, or is there other languages supported? Yeah,
so right now we don't have, the other language piece is something we're still working on. So we don't have another piece, we don't have another, how do I say this? We don't have another set of languages, for example, that we're adding as part of Microsoft Search. It's the content that you have already, and so you can search in that language where the content is originated. Yeah, sorry. Having a hard time getting the words out today for some reason.
So about previous gentleman's question, the PDFs or images, are you doing any OCR? Or is there
PDFs are something that we've worked on, but are very difficult. But image recognition, so extracting text out of images, is something that's really important too. And so that image recognition, if you take a picture, JPEG or PNG, that kind of image, it'll actually do automatic text extraction, but it's in the language that was obviously originated on there right now. So you can talk to CJ about that, because it's her feature. So, Ryan. Go ahead.
As far as the Windows integrated searching,
yeah,
what version of Windows is required for that?
That's a good question.
So right now it's the RS3, so I believe that's the fall creators update from.
So 1709.
I think so, yeah. It's RS3 Plus. Well, we call it RS3, and I never can remember the numbers. Maybe we should build that into search. I don't know. What version of Windows is this? Oh, there we go. I got it. But anyway, yeah. So that's what it's and basically what we're doing right now, and that is really what that comes down to is the ability to authenticate. And so right now, in previous versions of Windows before RS3, you actually had to connect yourself and your account in a separate way, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So we've actually fixed that in that version where whatever credentials you're logged into the machine with automatically go into the box and authenticate you so that you can get those work results there as well. Cool.
All right, zipping back.
Going back to SharePoint, I guess.
Sure.
So other folks asked a similar question about the customization, but specifically about taxonomy and tagging. So does Microsoft Search leverage any of the predefined tagging and taxonomy there?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So within SharePoint, of course, we have the Managed Metadata Service as part of that, and you can set up folksonomies and taxonomies as part of that too. And so when we think about that metadata, it's something that was obviously searchable for what you have. So if you've gone through the work of actually applying tags or are in the process of doing work to apply tags to a lot of information, or if you're using a partner, for example, to tag documents, right, to do that as well automatically. So all of that is definitely part of that search taxonomy.
So you still recommend to go ahead and do the taxonomy part?
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing replaces good information architecture, right? I'm just being very clear about that. So if you have investment in information architecture, please go ahead and do it. Not every company does, right? So we're trying to cater to people who have a minimum viable level, right, of customization and things that they want to do. But if you can invest in information architecture, it's always a good idea.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Go ahead.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, man, how are you? Nice to see you.
Good to be back.
Yeah.
We should do this later, though. question for me is, when you guys are seeing trending searches or popular searches, how do we, I know there was sort of a whinge about privacy, but it'd be awesome to come back to users and say, this is now available, or we've noticed you were searching for this. Have you got something in mind?
We show trending searches, like for example on the SharePoint mobile app, it actually aggregates some trends there and looks at it for public information. So there is some trending piece there. What there isn't, I don't think about anything that we've got from an anticipatory perspective if you search for it and you didn't find it, but 2 weeks later you might find it. So that's
right now it's there, because that would be cool. The problem is, well, it's not the problem. It's a good thing. Is that we anonymize stuff, right? So that way you can't target an individual and you don't know what they're searching for. Like that's why I'm not fired for wondering if I can smoke weed at work. And so
many times as you do, obviously.
So it's hard to do that. But what I think is what is interesting about that is that what we've thought about are mechanisms for you to be able to maybe broadcast that a bit more. So if you see a trend, right, and you won't not necessarily know who did it, but you could see a trend and say, man, everybody's searching for VPN. There must be a problem. But giving you the ability to inject, your own result in there, or say, hey, no, you really want this, right, even if they didn't quite type it in correctly. So I think that's kind of maybe what you're getting at, or what might help you.
I sort of see the one person suggesting one bookmark, right, and then another person suggesting one bookmark. But if you have a shitty user experience first or second time around with this,
right,
how do we get them back?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff for sure. And think about that from an admin perspective as well as privacy.
Exactly.
It's like, so it's all good. All right, go ahead.
How you doing? Great session today.
Thank you. Thank you for sticking it out to the end of the questions.
I know it's happy hour. Sorry, we're cutting into
you
your.
You should be drinking, people.
So, is there going to be a delay, or what's the delay for government tenants?
Oh, that's a great question too. So that's another piece that we were rolling out. No, okay. So Microsoft Search right now is going into obviously the business commercial tenants as well. The other capabilities that you see, I don't know actually about GCC on Bing.
We right now are Tier C SOC 2 compliant. We are working towards Tier D by March.
Yeah.
But again, that's where to kind of get that. The next level will be, can we actually get into that world, right, which is a little bit more of a challenge with web, right, because you've got that going on, which we've done a lot of security and trust measures to make sure that the logs are completely separate, the queries are anonymized, advertisers don't know about it, right, we've got a lot of that in place already, but then it's a whole nother set of, which is another level of compliance for us to get to.
So see, with the pieces that we have inherent to Office, obviously those will go to GCC as well. The challenge we have with the government cloud is that it's only like every 6 months or something that we get these audits that you can even get new features into the door with. And so that's one of the challenges we have, like the Bing.com experience. But we are working on it. It's not that we're not excluding it on purpose. It's just a challenge to get in there. So hopefully, during 2019, I hope you'll see some of this at least. Sorry. Sorry. I know it's tough. All right, my friend with many questions, go for it.
All right, so those the couple of use cases you showed around the best bets or promoted result kind of thing, right? So with that, like, can we upload a company-specific or organization-specific list of best bets?
Absolutely, you can bulk upload as much as you like. Yes, bookmarks, add
and where exactly will we be uploading those on the SharePoint side or on the?
You're actually going to do that right now inside of the Bing admin experience.
In your admin portal, So you can import via Excel. You can also, we have the search extension that I showed you. You can suggest them from there. We even have an extension for admins that you can actually create content right there. So you can just navigate to a page and say, make it a bookmark. And it extracts all the information from the page and allows you to publish right there. So it makes it super easy to create that content.
Okay, and similar question around the type ahead feature. So you start typing and you get the search term suggestions.
Right.
Like a lot of companies have, their own specific terms they want to use
so query suggestions are part of the extensibility piece, and that's the piece that's coming next year as well.
Okay, and the other question around the external content sources or non-SharePoint content sources.
Yeah.
So you mentioned some of those will come out of the box, right? So do you have like initial list?
We don't have a list yet. Popular third-party applications is what we're saying right now. Okay, we will have more on that in the spring of next year to tell you about.
Okay, because a lot of our customers, they're using external content sources, content connectors, like search connectors.
Yeah.
So just curious,
Yeah, no, we don't. We're not ready to share that yet. So.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
All right, thank you guys. Wow, sticking it out.